Polymarket. Shane Copeland was 21 years old, sitting in his New York apartment during the pandemic, watching people argue online about what was true and what wasn't. He dropped out of NYU, taught himself to code, and decided to build something wild, a platform where you could literally bet money on whether real-world events would happen. Not sports, not games, real news, elections, policy decisions, the kind of stuff people argue about at dinner tables. He called it Polymarket, and it ran on blockchain using cryptocurrency. For a while, it was just a niche thing for crypto enthusiasts. Then the 2025 election hit, and suddenly everyone wanted in. Trading volumes exploded. The platform started predicting outcomes faster and more accurately than traditional polls, and people noticed. The Intercontinental Exchange, one of the biggest financial players in the world, cut a massive deal with Copeland. Overnight, Polymarket's valuation hit $9 billion, and this 27-year-old became a billionaire. Of course, it wasn't all smooth. In 2024, the FBI raided his apartment over unregistered futures trading. The case eventually got settled and dropped, but the crypto world saw it as the government trying to crush innovation. Olipop. Ben Goodwin had $100,000 and an idea that sounded ridiculous: make soda healthy. Not the fake healthy where you slap organic on a label and call it a day, but actually good for your gut. He teamed up with David Lester in 2018, and together they created Olipop, a drink that tasted like the sodas you grew up with, but was loaded with prebiotics, fiber, and botanicals instead of mountains of sugar. For a while, it was just another wellness product trying to make it. Then TikTok happened. Videos of people reviewing Olipop flavors went viral, and suddenly everyone wanted to try this healthier Coke. Retail stores couldn't keep it on shelves. Within 5 years, sales hit $500 million. The timing was perfect too. With Ozempic and weight loss drugs becoming mainstream, people were rethinking sugar. Olipop's low-sugar formula became the poster child for what they started calling functional sodas. And now, in 2025, the company was worth $2 billion. But not everyone's buying it. Some drinkers complained about bloating, and skeptics questioned whether the prebiotic claims actually held up. Competitors in the space have already faced lawsuits over similar promises, so Olipop is basically walking a tightrope between hype and scrutiny.
Quince. Sid Gupta spent years as a venture capitalist watching fashion brands mark up their products by insane amounts, and one question always troubled him. Why does a cashmere sweater cost $200 when the factory sells it for $40? So in 2018, he launched Quince out of San Francisco with a simple pitch: luxury basics at prices that don't make you wince. $50 cashmere, silk blouses under $60. The secret wasn't magic. It was just cutting out the middlemen and selling directly from factories. For a while, Quince was another direct-to-consumer brand fighting for attention. Then 2025 hit, and inflation had people rethinking every purchase. TikTok exploded with videos of shoppers showing off Quince hauls, praising the quality while everyone else was tightening budgets. The timing couldn't have been better. Quince's factory direct model meant prices 50 to 80% lower than competitors, and suddenly the company was valued at $4.5 billion. But there's a catch. Some customers started complaining about fading fabrics and poor fits, sparking accusations that Quince is just fast fashion with better marketing. The affordable luxury promise only works if the quality actually holds up. You.com. Richard Socher wasn't just some random startup founder. He had a PhD in AI, ran Salesforce's AI division, and knew exactly how search engines worked. In 2020, he left Salesforce to build You.com, pitching it as the privacy-focused alternative to Google. No tracking, no ads following you around, just clean, AI-powered search results. For a couple years, it was interesting, but not groundbreaking. Then Socher made a smart move. He pivoted hard into enterprise AI tools. Forget competing with Google for everyday searches. Instead, You.com started building custom AI agents and multimodal search for businesses. Companies loved it. By late 2025, Cox Enterprises led a massive funding round that pushed the valuation to $1.5 billion. But here's where it gets messy. You.com markets itself as the scrappy challenger taking on big tech, yet some people aren't convinced. Conspiracy theories float around asking if it's secretly backed by the very companies it claims to compete against, planted there to make the market look competitive without actually threatening anyone. Others think it's just riding the AI hype wave, destined to crash when the bubble pops.
Kalshi. 2 MIT students sat in their dorm room in 2018, both with hedge fund experience, and realized something wild. Regular people couldn't legally bet on regular things that mattered: inflation, interest rates, policy decisions, name them. So Tariq Mansour and Luana Lopez Lara decided to change that. They built Kalshi, a federally regulated platform where you could place simple yes or no bets on real-world outcomes. It started small, but 2025 turned everything around. Prediction markets exploded. Trading volumes hit billions per quarter. People weren't just speculating anymore. They were using Kalshi like a sentiment stock exchange, gauging how the world felt about major events during constant global chaos. Legal wins opened new markets, crypto exchanges integrated the platform, and a massive funding round late in the year tripled Kalshi's valuation to over $11 billion. But as expected, suspicion followed its success. Critics started asking uncomfortable questions. Is Kalshi just a front for hedge funds to manipulate public sentiment? Are these platforms turning uncertainty into a commodity that only benefits insiders? When you can bet on literally anything, who's really controlling the odds? Luma AI. Amit Jain looked at Hollywood and said the quiet part out loud. It's dying. He wasn't being dramatic, he was dead serious. In 2021, he and Alberto Taiuti launched Luma AI out of Palo Alto, building tools that let anyone create professional-looking video clips from text prompts. Their dream machine became the weapon of choice for creators who couldn't afford film crews or animation studios. By late 2025, Saudi investors poured enough money into Luma to push its valuation past $4 billion. Suddenly, it wasn't just a cool tool, it was a legitimate rival to OpenAI's Sora, offering developers APIs to generate 3D assets and videos at scale. The generative AI boom made Luma indispensable. But that success came with backlash. Filmmakers panicked. If anyone can generate a movie scene in seconds, what happens to cinematographers, editors, and entire production teams? Then there's the Saudi funding, which sparked concerns about data privacy and whether Luma's tech could be weaponized for surveillance or propaganda. When AI gets this powerful, people start asking who really controls it. Gamma AI. Grant Lee, John Noronha, and James Fox watched people stare at blank PowerPoint slides for hours and thought, this is insane. In 2020, they launched Gamma as a presentation tool, but by 2022, they'd pivoted hard into AI. The pitch was simple. Tell Gamma what you need, and it generates entire decks and documents in seconds. No more blank page paralysis. The growth was unbelievable. 10 million people used Gamma in 9 months. Creators loved it. Businesses adopted it fast. By late 2025, Gamma raised $68 million at a $2.1 billion valuation with a shockingly small team. It became the poster child for AI-era efficiency, massive revenue, minimal headcount, and maximum hype. But here's the problem. A lot of what Gamma produces feels soulless. Users complain that the content is generic, requiring heavy editing to be usable. The exports are clumpy. The interface has quirks. Critics argue that Gamma's valuation is less about what it actually does and more about investors throwing money at anything with AI in the pitch deck. If the AI bubble pops, Gamma might be one of the first casualties. Thank you for watching. Happy 2026 in advance.